I have no internet. At least I have power for my fans and air conditioning. So since I have no internet, here's Steve. And today it's Monday, which means we talk about the tabletop role-playing game news. And obviously the number one story in the tabletop role-playing games community is the betrayal of Critical Role and why they chose D&D 2024 for Campaign 1 over, I guess Steve doesn't want to be interviewed, over Daggerheart. Now, we've heard a lot of rumors. We've heard a lot of stuff. We will never know 100% for sure, despite all the people who claim they have insider news, including myself. But based upon all the evidence we do have, basically it comes down to money. And there is a 75% chance that there was some backroom deal between Critical Role and Wizards of the Coast to maintain using Dungeons & Dragons because advertising and recognition, and it helps Wizards of the Coast show people how cool D&D 2024 is, and it helps Critical Role maintain their fan base. So if that's true, that pretty much takes everything that Critical Role, Matt Mercer, has said since they announced Daggerheart as bullshit. That they basically lied to our face, that they never had any intention of making Campaign 4 or doing anything much with ending their relationship with Dungeons & Dragons. So why Dungeons & Dragons 2024? Well, this much we can pretty much 90% confirm is, well, not only money, but it's recognition. Critical Role Incorporated does not feel the individuals that they're going to be having playing the game are familiar enough with Daggerheart to keep it running for as long, the length that it is. Obviously, we should all be learning it together, you would think, but nope. Critical Role Incorporated doesn't think that Brandon Lee Mulligan is comfortable enough or familiar enough to run the system. I knew he's had almost a year to learn it. But then again, this is a man who can't do basic math and hates the hobby. So everything I've heard about Brandon Lee Mulligan so far isn't very positive. So, yeah. And Critical Role doesn't feel that you, and this is the one that hurts the most, Critical Role doesn't feel you, the fans, are loyal enough that you will stick with them if they switch systems because you don't understand Daggerheart. They don't have faith in the fans' intelligence and the fans' loyalty. And let's face it, there is some truth to that because every time Critical Role tries something that isn't Dungeons & Dragons, like Candle Obscura, it fails miserably. And part of that is Critical Role's fault because Candle Obscura was an awful system. But part of that is just the fans going, well, it's not fantasy, it's not Campaign 2, I don't want to watch it. So that much is true. To say that they don't feel the fans will stay loyal if they switch, yeah. But I mean, on the other hand, it's the biggest selling thing in the hobby right now. Constantly being sold out, constantly having to be resurfaced. So obviously the fans have enough faith in it to be switching over. And every campaign I see online that is staying loyal to the company thread, oh, nobody wants to watch you do that. There you go. Is like switching over to Daggerheart. Even people I never thought who would switch over to Daggerheart are switching over to Daggerheart because they know it'll get them more clicks, at least for now. So at least temporarily, Daggerheart is the belle of the ball. It's the Cinderella. And I don't see why they would not think that the fans would not follow it. I mean, if you're so afraid of the fans' loyalty, why switch DMs? Why switch campaign styles? Why switch players? I mean, you think the fans are going to abandon you for switching to Daggerheart? Then that would be the same thought of thinking, well, the fans are going to abandon you if you switch world sittings. We want to know what's going on with Vax and Jaster and Tilith and whoever else. We want more Exandria. We don't want a new world. So to tell me that you don't have faith in the fans, yeah. But mostly it's just money. It's more cost effective. They will make more money, spend less money, and get more behind the scenes residual advertising stuff by sticking with what everybody knows. Dungeons & Dragons 2024. Plus, it allows Wizards of the Coast to show everybody that Dungeons & Dragons 2024 is still cool. Look, Critical Role is using this awful system, so it must be still cool. So, yeah, no faith in the system. No faith in anybody to learn the system in time for it to be Campaign 4, and the system is not going to work with the style of campaign, a Westmarch style campaign. Of course, neither does 5e work with a Westmarch style campaign, but okay. I don't think Brendan Lee Mulligan and Critical Role understand what a West March style game is based upon how they've described it. So, yeah. Yes, Steve? Is there something you want? You're the star of the show, Steve. Now we enter to the realm of speculation, of which we have no proof whatsoever. Mind you, this is just me spitballing based upon what I've heard, what I thought, and my prediction. Now, if you remember, long time ago when they first announced Daggerheart, and they first announced what the goal of Campaign 3 was, I said, okay, Campaign 4 should start as D&D, and then slowly convert to Daggerheart, so that by the time Campaign 4 ends, it's 100% Daggerheart, and that's the best way to show people the conversion and the best way to learn it. Now, considering they have said that the system they're using is Dungeons & Dragons 2024, heavily modified by Perkins and Crawford. Not sure what that means, but it's heavily modified. We haven't seen what the modifications are yet. Obviously, they feel they're simple enough that we can learn them before the campaign starts. You guys aren't smart enough to learn Daggerheart, but you're smart enough to learn new modifications and house rules for D&D. So by saying that, it leads me to believe that the plan is either A, as I originally predicted, start with Dungeons & Dragons 2024, as we know it, modified, then slowly use those modifications and the world of Animar, or whatever it's called, and its implicitly chaotic nature to explain the transitions. Oh, look, the magic doesn't work the way we thought it was. Classes are slowly changing. Abilities, the world is a chaotic ball, and it is reshaping itself in the post of this God War that Brendan Lee Mulligan had. So he's basically taking the plot line of Campaign 3 and then saying, well, what if Campaign 3 ended differently? So it's not critical. It's not Exandria, but it is Exandria. So yeah, that would mean, and that makes a lot of sense. And that would explain the modifications and the sticking with what we know, but then slowly teaching people our system. And they're saying, yeah, you guys don't know Daggerheart well enough yet, and it's only been around for not even a year, and, maybe it still needs the tires kicked. So that would lead to theory number 2, that Crawford and Perkins and Mercer and Steven are working on Daggerheart 1.5. That they're going to do a re-release of the rules post this year. And we know that they're already playtesting new stuff, both in the face and behind the scenes. So that would lead me to believe that, Daggerheart was unfinished and they're still testing stuff. They're still live playtesting it. And they're still working out the kinks, and they're going to have a 1.5 sometime in the next year or two. And that's why they're sticking with D&D, because Daggerheart isn't ready yet. And then there's theory number 3. And this theory has to do with the theory that I've been floating around for a very long time now. Dungeons & Dragons 6X, June 2027. That's still floating out there. That statement of the future of D&D is still floating out there. There's still somewhere on the calendar, Dungeons & Dragons 6X, June of 2027. So what if, and this idea comes from a couple people, including our good friend Jeff's Gamesbox, what if Wizards, who has said they don't think D&D makes them money, is going to hand off the next edition to Dungeons & Dragons to Darrington Press? Here, you run with it. You're the official ambassadors of the game anyways. Everybody loves you talking about it. Everybody loves watching you talk about it. Everybody loves watching you play with it. You can deal with all the heartache and all the negative attention, and we can focus on the things we feel make us money. Here, and we'll give you Mackenzie free. Please take her. And if you order now, not only will we give you the ability to write Dungeons & Dragons 2027 6X, but we'll throw in Mackenzie absolutely free. No takebacks. She's yours. Just remember to walk her once a day and feed her twice a day. And Yeah. So yeah, those are my theories. And again, those are all theories. There's no facts. There's no facts to anything I said. And we'll never know 100% for sure why. We could only speculate based upon what we do know. 75% likely some type of backroom deal was made between Critical Role and Wizards of the Coast to keep using D&D 2024. Which, if that's true, basically means everything Mercer and company said since they started was bullshit. That they were never going to, switch, and they were always going to be loyal to D&D, at least for now. Again, that's not 100% confirmed. That's, I would say, basically right now, 75% that's most likely. Now, we do know 100% confirmed that they're choosing D&D 2024 today because they don't think people understand Daggerheart. Daggerheart's not ready. They don't have faith in the fans to stay loyal and keep spending money if they don't use D&D. You're not smart enough to understand it. Mind you, the first 4 games is going to be basically character building and learning the new rules, so why not just have the first 4 games be learning Daggerheart, Brandon? Blink, 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 question mark, question mark, question mark. So that we know 100%. They've said that they're using D&D because they don't think people are ready. And then the third aspect of this conversation, of course, is the future. Why D&D now? What is the future? And the future is, my 3 theories. Theory number 1, they're going to use this campaign 4 to switch from D&D to Daggerheart. So by the end of campaign 4, it's 100% Daggerheart. 2, they don't think Daggerheart's ready, so they're going to be using D&D while Perkins and Crawford and Matt and Steven work on Daggerheart 1.5. And then sometime next year or the year after, we have a re-release. It's not a new system. It's just an expansion. It's backwards compatible. Or 3, what if the plans are to hand Dungeons & Dragons to Darrington Press in 2027, and Dungeons & Dragons 6th edition is a Darrington Press production? I wish there was something else more interesting going on in the community, but that's the main story. And it managed to keep us united for a whole 24 hours. For 24 hours, the tabletop role-playing game community was all focused on this. But nope, now we're back to calling that person a name, and that person a name, and that person a name, so that didn't last very long. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What are your theories of Daggerheart and D&D? And hopefully we're done talking about this, because I'd like to get to talking about more important things. Anyways, thanks for watching Steve the Cat for 13 minutes. I'll let you get about your day. Please take a moment to like, share, subscribe. If you appreciate this content, consider supporting me through my Ko-Fi or using the various links down below. You could use my Only Crits link to get a brand new set of dice. I have 2 products on sale over at Drive-Thru, so there's a lot of different ways you can support me. Remember, you're not supporting me, you're supporting this cute face. Look at this face. Support the OGGM. Look at this face. Till next time, stay cold. It's very, very hot.